Hey there, and welcome. What if I told you that right now, an invisible substance is not just surrounding you but flowing through your veins, lodged in your brain, and even shaping the very geology of our planet? It's a silent invasion that has already happened. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what this substance is and what you can do about it. But first, we need to uncover how it staged this global takeover. Because knowing this won't just change your perspective on a plastic bottle, it might change how you see the world itself. We tend to think of plastic pollution as that giant floating island of trash in the ocean. A distant, ugly problem. But the truth is far smaller and far more intimate. Picture a single plastic bag snagged on a fence. The sun beats down, the wind whips, rain lashes against it. Over months and years it doesn't just disappear, it shatters, it breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces until it becomes a cloud of microscopic dust. These are microplastics, and they come from two main sources. Some, called primary microplastics, are designed to be tiny from the start. Think of the microbeads in old face washes, or the industrial pellets used to make new plastic items. But the vast majority are secondary microplastics, fugitives from a larger whole. They are the ghosts of plastic bags, water bottles, and fishing nets, endlessly breaking down but never truly going away. But how does a tiny fiber from your fleece jacket end up in Arctic snow? How does dust from a car tire end up in the deepest ocean trench? And more importantly, how does it end up inside you? The invasion happens on three fronts. The most obvious is ingestion. We are eating and drinking these particles. Studies have found that 93% of major bottled water brands are contaminated, with hundreds of particles per liter. But it gets even more shocking. A single plastic-based tea bag, one of those silky pyramid ones, can release billions of micro and nanoparticles into your cup of hot tea. Billions. From one tea bag. The second front is inhalation. Every time you walk across a carpet, sit on your sofa, or even wear polyester clothes, you're releasing a storm of plastic fibers into the air. In fact, the concentration of these fibers is often higher indoors than outdoors. We are constantly breathing in the dust of our own synthetic world. And it's not just from our homes. One of the single largest sources of microplastic pollution is something we see everyday: car tires. As they wear down on the road, they shed a constant stream of tiny particles that become a huge part of the dust in our air. And the third, most subtle front, dermal contact, through our skin. While the jury is still out on larger particles, the really tiny nanoplastics, smaller than 100 nanometers, may be small enough to pass through our skin barrier, delivered via the lotions, sunscreens, and cosmetics we use every day. So, they're getting in. But are they staying? The evidence is startling. Scientists are now finding these plastic particles in places they never expected. They've been found circulating in human blood. They've been found deep inside our lungs and in our bone marrow. They've even been detected in brain tissue. But perhaps the most profound discovery? They've been found in the human placenta, crossing the sacred barrier between a mother and her unborn child. They are becoming part of us before we are even born. Finding them is one thing. The real question is, what are they doing once they're inside? This is where the science gets honestly deeply concerning, revealing a two-pronged attack on our bodies. First, there's the chemical attack. Plastic isn't just plastic, it's actually a toxic cocktail. Over 16,000 different chemicals are used to produce plastics, and for at least 11,000 of them, we have no idea what their long-term health effects are. What we do know is that thousands of them are hazardous. They include endocrine disruptors like BPA and phthalates, which can interfere with our hormones and are linked to everything from reproductive problems to diabetes. They can contain heavy metals like lead and mercury. The plastics themselves act like tiny toxic sponges, soaking up other pollutants like pesticides from the environment and delivering this concentrated dose directly into our tissues. Second, there's the physical attack. At a cellular level, the mere presence of these sharp, foreign particles causes irritation and inflammation, a condition known as oxidative stress. It's like a constant low-level internal abrasion. In seabirds, scientists have even identified a new disease called plasticosis, where the stomach is so physically scarred by plastic fragments that it can no longer function properly. In labs, nanoplastics have been shown to damage lung cells, cross the placental barrier, and even interfere with the mitochondria, the tiny powerhouses that generate energy in every single one of our cells. It sounds overwhelming, like an unstoppable tide, but it's not. This is where the story shifts. This is where you come in. Tackling this requires action on every level, starting with our own daily choices. Simply reducing your reliance on single-use plastics is the most powerful first step. Carry a reusable bag. Get a coffee cup you love and actually use it. In your kitchen, swap plastic containers for glass or stainless steel, and never ever microwave food in plastic. A plastic cutting board can shed thousands of particles into your food, a wood or bamboo one won't. In your laundry room, the battle against fibers begins. Wash synthetic clothes less often in full loads with cold water. Choosing natural fibers like cotton, wool, or linen whenever possible makes a huge difference. And, on a larger scale, the fight is moving to industry and government. We're seeing a push for what's called extended producer responsibility. A simple idea that says the company that made the mess should be responsible for cleaning it up. This forces them to design products that are more durable, easier to recycle, and less toxic in the first place. And right now, nations around the world are negotiating a potential global plastics treaty, a landmark agreement to finally tackle this crisis at its source. We've journeyed from a single plastic bag, splintering in the sun, all the way to the microscopic particles crossing into our brains and our blood. It's a story that reveals just how deeply interconnected our choices are with our own biology. This isn't just about plastic. It's about fundamentally rethinking our relationship with the materials we create, how we make them, use them, and what happens when we're done with them. If this shift in perspective resonated with you, hitting that like button helps more people see it, and subscribe to keep exploring these big questions with us. So next time you hold a piece of plastic, remember it has a story that doesn't end when you throw it away. In many ways, it's a story that's just beginning.